Alrighty, so this is just We the People News. One more time at it, y'all. Okay, not attorney, not giving legal advice. Okay, it's just my opinion at times. And well, according to the bar union, I cannot give legal advice anyway. And use that Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Okay, and la 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 la. So, a few videos back, I picked out 3 of my favorite court cases. Okay, and this was one of them. Not particularly the way the court was, but what he said towards the grand jury. Now, there are people on there that said that, it didn't need to be more than 6, but that was in a civil. This was still in a criminal. Okay, and that's the due process under common law. Of course, they're under administrative, but Kirk here is operating in common law, forcing the common law jurisdiction, or trying to. So there's been an update video, and I wanted to kind of let you guys see this part of it to jump to the other one. Now there's going to be an executive order from Trump, which we need to hear as well. So there's going to be several videos, just giving you fair notice, okay? So let's check this out.
That will be a waiver of any additional peremptories. So if you wish to utilize them, please do so. 4 is the allotted number for peremptories here. This will be a jury of 6 persons. Objection, right?
Oh, by the way, there's going to be a loud ding in here, so give you notice.
Trial by juries of 12 men of my peers without unanimous consent cannot. That's the law. This will be 6 jurors tomorrow. Objection. That's deprivation of the right to a trial by a jury. Understand your request is denied. It's not a request, it's the law. You're not following the law, you're in breach of your oath of office, you're committing felonies, which is treason. So I'm accusing you of committing treason on the stand in open court. Denied. Now, just for clarification right there, right? So again,
we'll jump that part a little bit. And my internet's been a little bit slow here lately, so excuse me on that. Alright, so anyway, let's not go through all that. That was the main part of that video, is calling out that administrative judge and basically tell him, no, you need to get back into the Constitution, the law of the land of common law, and that's just statutory administrative crap, basically what he's saying. So let's get over here, and I've got to rewind that.
That's everything because you're nuts.
So let's jump across back down here.
Went and I have the audio recording of the hearing, so I'll be playing the audio recording for the hearing, okay? So everybody gets to hear how this all went down in court. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Trump's executive order here that was done April 28th. Let's see if this will... yeah, there we go. Alright, so this is, let's look like Executive Order 14288. It was actually published May 2nd. I actually come on here just to look, and it just barely got published the other day, and I shared it out there. So, This is what's coming, folks. We all ready for this? Strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. Now, some might think that this has to do with the foreign invasion and rounding up illegal aliens. But that's a different executive order. That's a different thing. What is this about? Well, purpose and policy. Policy, see, not law. Safe communities rely on the backbone and heroism of a tough and well-equipped police force. Well, Second Amendment says we're supposed to have a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. But we're dealing with what we have, what's been built, right? What's been created, what's been in use. For those of you that followed me long enough, you know that I know that's actually pronounced policy. And that's that policy officer stuff, standing armies that we're not supposed to have. So, but my administration is...
Which, by the way, came from England, okay? So what we call police officers today was policy officers in England, but the exact same principle. We just put it under a guise of a different name, but closely related. But your local police officer is policy officers.
Steadfastly committed to empowering state and local law enforcement to firmly police dangerous criminal behavior and protect innocent citizens. When local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs that make aggressively enforcing the law impossible, crime thrives and innocent citizens and small business owners suffer. My administration will therefore establish best practices at the state and local level for cities to unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state or local officials, and surge resources to officers in need. My administration will work to ensure that law enforcement officers across America focus on ending crime, not pursuing harmful, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. You see what's going on here? We're picking up what's being laid down? The result will be a law-abiding society in which tenacious law enforcement officers protect the innocent. Violations of law are not tolerated, and American communities are safely enjoyed by all their citizens again. Well, kind of seems like local law enforcements are going to be getting retrained on what actual crime is and how they're supposed to be defending the people.
Now, I did a few videos, couple of videos, matter of fact, my last video, I believe it was, talking about how the due process principle work and the Constitution and the Article 3 Supreme Court is the main original jurisdiction. Then you got the appellate administrative section. And we're supposed to actually see the Article 3, not the administrative, you free men and women. Now, you subjects out there are supposed to be in the administrative side, which is the appeals court. Okay? So, men and women are supposed to be in Article 3, and you're to jump all these loops to go directly. So that's the reason why there was never a whole lot of, no one set number on the Supreme Courts. In fact, they can have a Supreme Court where they're at now, but they can have a Supreme Court in the middle of the country, and they can have the Supreme Court at the deal. There is not ever any number set. Okay? They could put 150,000 Supreme Court justice on there to actually clean up some of this mess too. I know I'm using extreme, but there's no limitations. So 100,000 can be possible. Just depends who's the ones in office and elects how many judges there will be. Okay? There is no reason why we could not do it and bypass all these administrative crap to go directly to the Supreme Court itself to get remedy and bypass administrative crap.
The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. So, just in case somebody wants to try to sue these people, they're going to have pro bono defense. Number 3, empowering state and local law enforcement. The Attorney General and other appropriate heads of executive departments and agencies shall take all appropriate actions to maximize the use of federal resources to 1. Provide new best practices to state and local law enforcement to aggressively police communities against all crimes. Expand access and improve the quality of training available to state and local law enforcement. Increase pay and benefits for law enforcement officers. Strengthen and expand legal protections for law enforcement officers. Seek enhanced sentences for crimes against law enforcement officers. Promote investment in the security and capacity of prisons. And increase the investment in and collection, distribution, and uniformity of crime data across jurisdictions. Now, within 60 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General shall review all ongoing federal consent decrees, out-of-court agreements, and post-judgment orders to which a state or local law enforcement agency is a party, and modify, rescind, or move to conclude such measures that unduly impede the performance of law enforcement functions. This is martial law coming in, folks. And remember, Trump was talking about these other criminal organizations, and
I'm led to believe, I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice, but we could use this executive order when they're doing unjust pulling us over. And who's paying for the criminal activity? Your city is, your county is. So they're paying for the corruptions and all that kind of stuff. Well, there are agencies, okay? Can't remember what year it was. But as the president, he has no business telling what the people can do. The executive orders and all these kind of things is for the administrative part of it. But it's not technically for the people, okay? Constitutionally speaking, he has no say over us at all. But when we give our consent that we become subjects under the 14th Amendment, then the policy officers are saying you're breaking a rule and we're going to throw you in jail and take all your money.
Take a look at how a couple of judges have been arrested. Nobody is above the law. If you break the law, we're coming after you. Okay. Section 4, using national security assets for law and order. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General and Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement.
So when you really dig deeply in there and you had to learn how to use these words to your benefit, right? You can actually start charging these people with crimes. And let's just say that they think under the guise of uh, welfare check and they just barge in your house and all that kind of stuff, right? Well, where's the warrant? Well, they just broke the Constitution. They committed a crime. That's breaking and entering. So you can kind of go back into charging. And whoever issued any warrant to that, like number one officer is giving information to the number two officer goes to the magistrate. A magistrate issues a warrant unlawfully because it's still going by hearsay. There's no affidavit under penalty of perjury of the original man and woman's been harmed. Our original witness. It's all hearsay from number one officer all the way to the magistrate. And they've been all breaking the law, breaking the due process, and all that kind of stuff.
90 days. B. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Holding state and local officials accountable. The Attorney General shall pursue all necessary legal remedies and enforcement measures to enforce the rights of Americans impacted by crime and shall prioritize prosecution of any applicable violations of federal criminal law with respect to state and local jurisdictions whose officials 1A. willfully and unlawfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement, or unlawfully engage in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion, initiatives that restrict law enforcement activity to endanger citizens. Section 6. Use of Homeland Security Task Force. The Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security should utilize the Homeland Security Task Forces formed in accordance with Executive Order 14159 of January 2025, protecting the American people against invasion, to coordinate and advance the objectives of this order. Okay, so there, yes, yep, it's going after the foreign invaders. But again, the next one, the one previous, going after local officials, state and local officials. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or the functions of director of office of management and budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. This order.
All right. Well, and you guys can read the rest, but we're going to end the video here. And I don't like the qualified immunity crap, but moreover, it looks like, and I had to read it a little bit more deeply, but we can use some of this information and this executive order of things that are going against us, a violation of our due process. Okay? Forcing innocent people to do a plea bargain because they will retaliate. Right? I'm just saying. Alright, this is We the People News. Bye, y'all.